Welcome, one and all, to episode 435 of Scotch and Smoke Rings. If you're watching a replay and you're wondering what happened to episode 434, don't worry about it, you're in the right spot. I was out of town last week on Thanksgiving break. Took the entire week off, had a great time, but unfortunately I had to miss last week's episode, so it is lost to time, it's gone, it never happened. You're in the right spot, it's episode 435, and I'm glad to have you with me today. Also, I'm not going to be playing a game today, because I'm busy. Bethesda released the Creation, I did an update to the Creation Club yesterday, today. Did an update to the Creation Club today, and so I've been scrambling all morning to try and cover it in time for tomorrow's video, which means that I haven't had a chance to sit down and finish part 3 to my Bright Brotherhood series, which I had intended to publish tomorrow, but which will now be published on Saturday. But I still have to get that video done tonight. It's complicated. Anyway, so no game today. It's just me. I'm here, and I'm glad to have you on the chat. Or on the show today. I am broadcasting live to YouTube and Twitch and something called Smashcast. I don't know if anyone watches me there, but I'm live there. And I'm monitoring the chats on Twitch, YouTube, and Discord. I am taking a look at the stream questions section of Discord. Lisa says, when will you make or release a video about Piper? Soon. She's high up on my list. In fact, probably next. Of the companions I will be doing a feature about, I believe she's next. So hang tight, Lisa. We will be getting to her soon. Do you think Cuba would have been greatly affected by the war and fallout, says AK? You know, that's a great question. I don't think in Fallout lore Vietnam ever happened, so therefore I don't think the Bay of Pigs would have ever happened. Though, you know, and we really weren't that, I mean, we were enemies with the Soviet Union, but it was not they who are our primary, because the Soviet Union had their own economic problems in Fallout lore. So yeah, I don't know. It's a great question. If China used them as a place from which to launch nukes, then possibly. And maybe they did. Who knows? Count Seb, with the tip, says, I will keep donating every week, man. Your content just keeps me on my feet. You're an inspiration. Thank you. Well, thank you very much for continuing to watch my content and for your very generous tip. I appreciate it. Corey says, what's up, Oxhorn? Love what you do and hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Keep up the great work, bro. Well, thank you very much. I did have a great Thanksgiving. I was out of town for most of it and traveling for most of it, so I didn't really relax, but it was still really nice. So thank you so much for watching. Gundanium says tomorrow is my birthday. Congratulations. And do you like Star Wars? It's okay. I was never really a Star Wars guy growing up. I know it's weird to say that because there are so many of my fellow geeks out there who just eat and drink and live and breathe Star Wars. And more power to you. But I've just never been that big of a Star Wars guy. I don't know what it is. Even before the prequels came out, the original trilogy, I was just not that into. I watched it, I enjoyed it, I had a healthy appreciation for it, but it was not something that I watched and rewatched. You know, I didn't want to be a Jedi for Halloween as a kid. It was a good movie. But that's just me. The Dark Seraph says, welcome back, Oxhorn. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving and hope you had a good Christmas. Cheers, Ox. Thank you, Dark Seraph. I did indeed. Pleasure to have you on the program as always. So, the show, I'm just to let we had this debate on Discord. The moderators and I had this debate on Discord a few days ago. Well, more like a week ago now. And it's getting to the point now where I have so many viewers and so many of you are extremely generous that you tip. It's getting to the point that I'm getting so many tips that I can't keep up with the questions. So I just have to say that if you tip, thank you so much. It's extremely generous, and I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. But I can't guarantee that I'll read your comment if you tip. So if you're just tipping so that I'll read your comment, it might not be the best investment of money. With a tip from Andrew, got night off work, first time ever watching live. Well, thank you, Andrew. Glad you're on the program. Thanks for the tip. But back to what I was saying, in case you're just tipping to get me to read your question, I have to say that I can't guarantee that I'll read it, but I'll still likely read the questions from those who tip. But I know that there are a lot of, another tip from Star Paladin. You gave me a new love for Fallout, ad Victoriam. Well, thank you, Star Paladin, and thank you for the tip. Ad Victoriam to you. But again, I'll still answer the questions from those, even if you don't tip. But thanks for the tips. All right, where was I? Cigar. Here we go. Gold Goliath says, will you please make a Boomers shirt? That's a great idea, but many of you may have noticed that I took most of the shirts down from my shop. And the reason for that is not because I don't want to make money or because I was asked to, but because I don't know the legality of it. Like, I've thought for the longest time that it's completely fine because I'm hiring artists to do all of the artwork. I'm coming up with my own designs. It's all completely original. But I am making these shirts based on the Fallout IP, and I think it's a little bit of a gray area. Like, I don't know if I'm legally allowed to or not. So without admitting guilt or anything, in an abundance of caution, I decided to take most of my shirts down from the shop, except for the ones that are just explicitly about me. So I can't do a Boomer shirt, sadly, because I don't know if it's okay. I'll try to reach out to Bethesda to see if it's okay, and if so, then I'll continue to do it. But if I don't hear back, then I won't be able to do it. But I got to come up with more shirt ideas. Don't worry. I will come up with more shirts. I just got to be creative now and think of more creative ideas that are fun. The loseriest loser says you need to learn to enable slow mode in chat roll. Yeah, you're right. Is that possible? If that's possible, I'm just now learning about it. So, I'm using a service called Restream to merge the chats for both YouTube and Twitch, so that I just have to look in one spot. But I don't know if it's got a slow mode. Settings. Nope, doesn't have a slow mode. So I'm just catching things as they fly by. Someone said you really need to make a Benny t-shirt. I know. I was even planning... Oh, I forgot. Sorry. Hold on. I got... Hold on. It's important. I got to turn on my fan. I just lit a cigar and I realized that the fan is not on. And I don't want to smoke out my poor wife. So hold on. All right, putting back the curtain. Gotta open the window. I'm narrating because I realize this is TV and you gotta... It's interesting, but you can't see what I'm doing. All right, now I'm putting the big fan in the window. Fighting a bush. Galloway bush. And I gotta slide it in there and then put this back. And it makes a horrible noise when I turn it on, so forgive me. There we go. Hold on. There. It's wedged in there. Alright. Oh no, it's gonna fall right out. Ah. Okay, now this is the horrible noise. Sorry about that. No, it was not too bad. Could have been worse. Alright, do I got the garage door cracked? Yeah, alright, so I got a breeze going on in here. Did not expect to see that in the chat when I sat back down. Alright. People watching the replay are like, what was that, Oxhorn? Well, sorry, it's too vulgar for me to repeat. Jacob says, how long did you have to do the Minuteman storyline? Well, I had to read up on it before I did it because I inadvertently signed with the Railroad my first time through, even though I tried to side with the Minutemen, and I didn't realize how I did it. It was completely by accident. I had to look up how to get the Minuteman ending before I got it. Yes, Thick, I gotcha. Booty, right! I have one as a human being tends to do. It's time for Scotch. Let's get some Red Label in there. Yeah, I got some new Scotch, by the way. I ran out, and I figured, I keep running out. I might as well get a bigger bottle. Right? Logic. So I got a bigger bottle. What's your next mini-series going to be on? Okay, because you're watching the show, I'll let you in on a little more. I'll let you in on a little preview. Now, I can't guarantee this. I always get myself in trouble when I do this, because then people will start leaving comments saying, hey, Oxhorn, you said you were going to do this, and when is this going to... But look, okay, here's the plan. Finishing up my series on the Bright Brotherhood. Then, while I'm doing... I want to do... Okay. For Fallout 3, I want to do the Agatha's Song and Vault 92. Kate says, have you ever considered that you might be a synth in Fallout 4 because VATS is so close to the upgrades described in the Institute? Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I even made a video on whether or not the Soul Survivor is a synth, but I didn't touch on that actually. But what this doesn't explain is all of the other main characters. The Courier, the Lone Wanderer, the Chosen One. They all have VATS. They can't all be synths, right? Did I just get distracted? I was talking about something else. Yeah, so I'm going to be doing, for Fallout 3, my next idea is to do Agatha's Song and Vault 92 in preparation for doing the Waters of Life and going to Tranquility Lane, okay? Then, for New Vegas, my plan is I want to start a series on the main plot. I'm doing all of these side stories, and I'm doing the DLCs. I haven't been touching the main plot. I haven't even gotten to Benny yet in the game, right? I'm at the point in the game, I haven't even talked to Benny, and yet I've finished 3 of the 4 DLCs, and I've done almost all of the side quests. So I'm thinking of starting a new series that's a lot more slow going, where I go through the entire plot of Fallout New Vegas. And the way it'll work will be different. Instead of a new video in this series every day, I'll do one video in the series, and then work on other stuff for a week or 2, then do another video in the series, and slowly get through the main story series. Unlike when I do my DLC series, which I finish all in one big go. I was on Old World Blues for 2 weeks. That's a long time for YouTube, and I enjoyed every minute of it. I was getting a little tired there towards the end, and my viewers, I think, were probably getting tired. One of the great things about my channel, to toot my own horn, is I've got all 3 games. I've got New Vegas 3 and Fallout 4. Sometimes I throw in Fallout 1, maybe some of the other Fallouts at some point. So even if you're not the biggest New Vegas fan, I still got something for you. You know, the next day might be 3, the next day might be 4. But if I'm doing a 2-week-long series, then you know what to expect for 2 weeks, and you might tune out. So I want to avoid that. But I don't know. I don't know what I'll do the next time I have a DLC series, because I do want to get through an entire DLC. So then, anyway, so I want to start a series on the primary plot of New Vegas, which is one of the reasons why I'm getting the Bright Brotherhood done now, so that I can do an entire episode on He Went That Away, basically. Then, after that, or kind of simultaneously while I'm doing that, I want to go do Point Lookout. Is it Point Lookout? Which one is next? Whatever, I think it's Point Lookout. Whatever Fallout 3 DLC is next, I'm going to do that one. And at the same time, here's my ideas for Fallout 4. I want to focus on Diamond City, which is why I've already done a video on the Science Center recently. And then I did a video on Mo recently. And I want to get through some of the other major ideas in Diamond City. I think I'm going to be doing Confidence Man. Probably a multiple episode series on the Confidence Man, because that's pretty in depth. I also want to talk about the bartenders, because they deserve their own episode. And then ultimately that will culminate in a big video about Diamond City, and then moving on to Piper. You see my logic here? In order to do Piper, we learn a lot about Diamond City, so I figure I'll do my videos on Diamond City first while I'm shooting footage for Piper, and then when I'm done, I'll have all this footage for Piper that I can then use for a big Piper profile video, right? Then, after I'm done with Diamond City and Piper and all of that, I'm thinking I might do a big DLC series on Far Harbor. I know I've already published over 30 or so videos on Far Harbor, but I never followed the major plot. I kind of did the same thing I'm doing with the major plots of the game with Far Harbor. And with my Far Harbor playlist, I focused on all of the side locations. I didn't go through the main plot. I did do a big video on the ending to Far Harbor, so that's done. I don't have to do that. But all of the rest of it I still need to do. Plus, I really want to make an intro, 20-second intro video for Far Harbor. Ooh, with some of that Far Harbor music made by Ion Zool. Ooh, that'll be a lot of fun. I can't wait to sit down and do that. So I got a lot to do. I've got a lot of plans. There is no shortage of content for any of the games, and all at the same time, I gotta finally sit down and figure out how I'm gonna deal with Fallout 1, because I haven't finished Fallout 1 yet. I'm kind of stuck in the hub. I need to find a way out of the hub and figure out in my head how I want to tell that story. And I gotta tell the story about Harold. And I haven't even gotten Fallout 2 to work. So I just need to clone myself. Could someone please make a synth of me so that I can sit him down over there and he can work on some content and then I can work on some content and then we can finally get through everything? It's just a lot to get through, but I will get through it. It's not like I'm short for time. I mean, unless I die. Do I have some wood? There. So just cross your fingers that I don't die, and we'll be good. Speaking of which... Okay, where was I? Flashburn says, will you ever cover Fallout Tactics? Yeah, I bought the game. I've got the strategy guide right here. I haven't sat down and done it yet. I logged in once to Fallout Tactics. I think I'm going to struggle with Tactics. Now, I'm going to do it because I got to do it. It's Fallout, so I'm going to do it. But I think I might struggle with Tactics. The gameplay... it's not what I was expecting, but I'll try it. What cigar are you smoking on today, says Corey. It's nothing terribly impressive. It's a Casa de Garcia. It's like a dollar bin cigar. I was in a hurry. I didn't get any of my good cigars, the cigars I like. I ran out of cigars, so I ran to the local shop, and I just grabbed a handful and came back. But you can set it on fire, so it works. Why don't you do a video for the Fallout soundtrack, says N. Pells. What, just a video of me playing the music? See, I don't think I could do that. The reason I can get away with my channel is because of fair use. I'm adding something to it. I'm inserting my opinion. I'm critiquing it, or I'm adding something to the game that wasn't already there. So the gray area becomes white when I add my own personality to it. If I just sat there and played the entire Fallout soundtrack with no commentary and nothing from me, then I'm violating copyright. So I can't do that. But I try to include all of the songs from the soundtrack in the background of all of my videos. My fan is working really well. I can't even blow smoke rings. Alright, just pulls it away from my mouth. Savaged van parts. Oh, salvaged van parts. Sorry. Says, Oxhorn, as many hours over the years that I have been playing Fallout New Vegas and Old World Blues, I never made the connection between the plot and the Wizard of Oz. Thanks for the insight. Cheers. Thank you. I didn't even make the connection until I was making this video. And Mobius practically says it. He says that there was a movie about a Tin Man, a lion, and a No, he didn't say that specifically. He said there was an old movie about needing a brain, needing a heart, and needing courage, a spine. Oxhorn, I'll send you a new fan. My fan works great. It's just loud. I don't need a new one. I'm doing okay. Do a Fallout Cars series. Well, I already did a video on Cars and Fallout. I talked about Fallout 4, but I even talked a bit about Fallout 3. If you're interested, just Google Oxhorn, the Cars of Fallout, and you can find that video. It was one of my first ever hits. Got over 100,000 views, and I was like, wow, 100,000? Now every video gets over 100,000 views. But I was really excited at the time. More Bioshock, says Petite Captain. Yeah. I don't know. It's not resonating with me. Can I say that? I know it's a classic game. I know it's a well-beloved game. I know everybody loves Bioshock. And I know I should probably play Bioshock 2 before I judge the entire series. But I'm playing Bioshock 1. And the lore comes at you so fast in the form of these audio recordings that you have the option to read. All the while you're trying to dodge these insane creatures trying to lobotomize you. And the story itself is just... I'm an evil capitalist. I have a lot of money, and so I decided to build a city under the sea. But I'm evil because I'm a capitalist and I have money. And everything that I do is about money because I'm evil and I have money. But I'll get to it. Don't worry. Eventually, I've got time. Ray says, it's been forever since I was able to watch your Scotch and Smoke Rings. Life's been so busy. Your videos make it easier. Well, thank you very much. I do appreciate you having you here. Chief Smash says, if Bioshock 1 doesn't grab you, then this series isn't for you. It's good to know. Dominic says, how come you never touched Skyrim on the channel? I touched it. I touched it with like a 10-foot pole. It was far away at the time and I poked it. But it was a touch. I did one video on Skyrim and I've done 2 or 3 different live streams. But again, I finished Skyrim. I beat the game. Fought the dragon, Alduin. That guy. Shot a lot of arrows. Managed to kill Lydia. But, it's... I think it's because it's fantasy. I'm not too into fantasy right now. I used to be really into fantasy, but not so much anymore. But, yeah, it's a good game. It just hasn't really seized my attention. Bring back the chair! Yeah. Someday. Lonesome Road lore coming up? Yes. Yes. At the very end of my Old World Blue series, I said that I would do Lonesome Road. Yes, it's coming. Not this week. Not next week. In fact, probably not next month. But it'll come. Bioshock Infinite has an evil socialist? Alright, cool. A game I can get into. Thank you, the Dark Seraph. Agent DB Cooper says, Bioshock can get really heavy-handed. The creators are obsessed with Ayn Rand. Yeah, that's kind of the vibe I was getting, right? Like, I'm in the middle of this underwater city, and yeah, I'm fighting all of these zombie creatures, and every piece of lore I find is like, how do I even say it? They don't depict a man with money in the best light. They don't depict someone who desires to make decisions to earn money in the best light. It's like all of the sins of the world come from this one guy, and it's like just they're beating you over the head with it. It's like, okay, I get it. Yes, he's evil because he has money. All right, yeah. Can we move on now? No? More of that? Okay, we'll keep on doing that. Rage says, do you plan on playing Escape from Tarkov? Well, I haven't heard of it yet. Note to self, Google Escape to Tarkov. I'll check it out. I would recommend some... I'm going to be butchered for my pronunciation, but Deus Ex? Yeah, I've heard a lot about that. Haven't played it yet. Alright, making a note to self. By the way, have any of you played Atom? I was going to live stream it today, but then I ran out of time. Atom is a new indie-produced, post-apocalyptic RPG game inspired by Wasteland and Fallout 1 and 2. It's an isometric game that moves a lot like Fallout 1 and 2. I bought it, I've been playing it, and it's interesting. I don't know if I'll do a video on it or not. A lot of spelling mistakes. It's not really the best written game because it's an indie game, which is understandable. But I really enjoy the graphics, actually. The graphics are great. Anyway, yeah, I recommend it for people who are interested in an isometric Fallout 2 styled game. Can you do a lore video on dirty water, he says. I already did. Yeah, check out my video on the Weston water treatment plant. That's my video on dirty water. Agent DB Cooper says, Deus Ex is fun. The first one had a great Demolition Man shout out. 3 seashells in the bathroom. I'll check it out. Chief Smash says, my kids sometimes request that I play I Saw 3 Rogues for them. Ah, my old Christmas music. Well, I'm glad someone still plays it. Canuck says, hey Oxhorn, the Creation Club added the Flame Shark and Pink Power Armor paint jobs to some weapons. Your thoughts? You shall get my thoughts in tomorrow's video. That's what I've been working on all day. Yeah, it's going to be about 20-21 minutes long, and I go through every new Creation Club creation that they released today. My overall opinion is that the quality for everything they released is really good. I didn't find any quality control issues like we found with the Hellfire Power Armor. So everything's nice. Again, I didn't see what I want to see. Like, what we found was good. I especially like the new settlement stuff from Eleonora. But with the Creation Club, that's not what I'm looking for. We were promised mini DLCs. And I realized that technically everything that we're getting is a mini DLC. It's mini, and you do download it. Therefore, it's a mini DLC. I get it, right. But when I think about DLC, I don't think about weapon skins. I don't think about a new skin for your Pip-Boy. When I think the word DLC, I think about something a little bit more substantial. And I realize that that's difficult to make. But they've had time. This is the 3rd update to the Creation Club. They've had plenty of time. Now, I'm cool with everything we've gotten already. I don't want any of that to go away. Let's continue to get stuff like that. But what I'm missing is the more robust, substantial experiences that we would expect from a true mini DLC. New places to explore, locations to visit, people to talk with, new lore, which we're really not getting. So, I'll go over all of it in tomorrow's video. Jaden says, how much more Fallout 3 content? Lots. Duncan says, VR. Yes. Okay, I should probably expound upon that. So the nice thing about owning a business is I can write things off as business expenses. So, I bought a VR set. I've never done VR before. I've never been interested in VR. But this is my job. And you're my community. And for your sake, I bought myself a VR set so that I can play Fallout 4 VR. It'll be arriving on Friday, if everything goes according to plan, and I'm gonna tinker with it. Just gonna tinker. No promises yet, but I gotta tinker with it before I decide whether or not I want to make content about it. I'll probably create content in the form of live streams. Now, I don't know how you guys are going to like that. We'll see. But when it comes out, when it's released, I believe Fallout 4 VR is released on the 18th. Could be wrong. But when it's released, I may dedicate a few days to just live streaming Fallout VR. I don't know if it's going to be interesting. I don't know if the experience is really all that cool. But I have high hopes, and so we'll find out together. How about that? Bender says, everyone who wants there to be a cam on while Oxhorn is live streaming Fallout VR, raise your hand. Probably not going to do that. The way I'm going to do this is I'm going to not have a camera pointed at me. I'm going to stand over here. I've got a little bit of a space cleared away. I'll have the headset on. And it looks goofy, so I'm not going to have you looking at me while I got the headset on. And I'm going to have the little clickers in my hands, which don't look anything like guns. So again, goofy. Not going to have you looking at me. And I'll just broadcast what I'm seeing on the headset. So you'll see what I see, but you won't see me. That would just be silly. Fallen Soldier says, how will you spend Christmas? With my family. I've got a lot of Christmas family stuff coming up this month, and I don't know how it's going to impact my production schedule. Now, I don't want my job to get in the way of my family life, so if something comes up, they're going to be first, as I think everyone, you all understand. But I don't know if that means I'm going to have to skip a day or not, so I'll figure that out as I get there. But just follow me on Twitter and Facebook, because that's where I'll make announcements if I have to delay a video or skip a day, okay? HJ says, do you think Fallout will go to Chicago again? Probably not. I don't think that Bethesda's going to revisit places where they've already been, because then invariably they're going to be compared to that. They'll never do a game in the Mojave Wasteland, because invariably they will be compared to Fallout New Vegas, right? So I doubt very much that they would ever revisit Chicago, because then they would be compared to Tactics. Death Justice says, oh, come on, Ox, that's no fun. The Rogue Justice says, and there goes our fun watching you in VR gear. Look, fun for you. Fun for you does not translate into fun for me. I don't want to watch myself bumbling around my garage in VR gear. I know, honestly, if you think about it, I don't think you do either. Could they not have made the headsets a little less goofy looking? It's ridiculous. Am I the only one who thinks that the VR headsets are just ridiculous? I realize that they are constrained with what they have to make. You do have to have a screen 2 inches away from your eyes. I get it. But it's just goofy looking. And the little wands? Couldn't you at least get a fake gun when you're playing Fallout instead of these two little wands? Okay, I'm using my wands, and I'm going to rotate this board in the settlement build menu. Okay, and then release. I'm going to do it. It's a little goofy. I want to see you in VR. Everyone wants to see me in VR. Great. Great. Ugh, I'm going to have to point a camera at myself while I'm doing this silly VR thing. If you're going to do VR, says Zelarisa, go all out. All right. The viewers wanted those, says Death Jester. Maybe. I've got the doghouse. Let's twist the doghouse and set it gently on the ground. Oh, and it flew across the sky. Because I got these little wands. Your thoughts on your fan base? I love my fan base. They watch my videos. It's touching. I mean, I wouldn't watch my videos. I take that back. I'm very interested in my videos. I would watch them. Which is why I make them. The nice thing about what I do is, for some reason, I've been blessed with enough people who want to listen to what I have to say. Which is cool, because I'm an opinionated guy. And sometimes people don't want to listen to me. Like, I can't talk to my wife about Fallout 4. I'll sit down and say, you know, I really like Preston Garvey, but the way that they put him in the game was disappointing. They made him too weak and emasculated, and he would have been such a really cool companion if only he wasn't so needy and emasculated. And she'll just look at me and go, But with you guys, I can sit here and make a video about Preston Garvey, and you guys are like, yes, Oxhorn, we can relate. That's awesome. I'm going to be going off on a limb tomorrow on the Creation Club. I tried to talk with my wife about it. You know what my wife has done? She got a Steam account, and she just installed Roller Coaster Tycoon. She has not played that game since she was a kid. And she wanted some nostalgia, so she's been playing Roller Coaster Tycoon. And I come upstairs and I'm like, well, Bethesda just released the Creation Club, and guess what they did? More Pip-Boy skins. She's like, I just made $2,000 with a fun park. Thanks for listening, babe. Love you. Diva says, will you ever do a live stream Fortnite? Probably not. That would take away from me making videos. Tim Haas says, I'm assuming he's not playing anything tonight. You assume correctly. No video tonight. Or no game tonight. I'm getting distracted by all the comments. I should be working right now. Well, I am working, but I should be doing a different kind of work right now. But, I gotta get to my video. Alright, a few more minutes of the live stream, and then I got to get to my video. Preston's problems is that his clothes are uncool, says Verissimo. I disagree. I think his clothes are great. I love his hat, and I love his duster. He's got a great outfit. His gun's a little goofy. It's a cool gun, don't get me wrong. I like the laser, the crank, what's it called? It's a crank laser rifle. What's it called? How come I don't? Automatic, I forget what it's called. I like it. It's like, but the implementation is clumsy and clunky. I can't use it in real combat. It's so frustrating to use. Musket, laser musket. Thank you. Thank you. Come on, Oxhorn. It's a great idea, but I don't know, just its implementation, it's clunky. It's kind of hard to use. Joshua says Preston is dapper. I agree. I like the way he looks. He's got style. Him and John Hancock. They're not ashamed. Both of them found their costumes in museums. And they said, you know what? I can do this way better than that mannequin. I'm putting it on, and it's mine now. John Hancock even took the guy's name. At least Preston kept his name. But that outfit is great. You love the laser musket? Okay. Well, what do I know? I mean, I didn't make the game. Maybe people really like it. I just couldn't get into it. I liked the idea of the automatic laser musket, but when I got it after beating the game with the Minutemen, I was disappointed. I would never use the automatic laser musket as opposed to an automatic laser rifle. The automatic laser rifle is just so much easier to use. It's easier to aim, it's easier to fire, the reload time is 3 times shorter. Why would you use the automatic laser musket instead of the automatic laser rifle? I don't know. I did say Hancock. Everyone was getting on my case when I was doing my videos about Good Neighbor because I kept on calling him Hancock. I don't know why. I know his name is Hancock. I know that's how it's spelled. I don't know why I kept saying Hancock. It is Hancock. And I'm very particular about it now. I have to stop myself. Sometimes I'll say Hancock on accident when I'm recording, and I have to stop, go back, and say Hancock. But I do that kind of thing all the time. In my video that I published today on Antler, I kept calling Davison Davidson. I know his name is Davison. I spelled it out in the video that I published. But for some reason, when I was recording the audio, I kept saying Davidson. I hope you guys never have to listen to my recording sessions. I waste almost half the time making stupid mistakes that I have to edit out. What program do you use for editing, says Phil. I used Movie Maker for my Destiny 2 co-op videos. Well, it was more than 10 years ago now. It was almost 15 years ago now. When I first started, I used Movie Maker. My first 3 or 4 videos were made with Movie Maker. But then I switched to Adobe products, and I'll never go back. They're so much easier to use. They're so much more powerful. For what I do now, I primarily use Adobe Premiere Pro. Every now and then, if I have something really intense that I have to do, like a lot of animation, I'll use Adobe After Effects. For example, my Mod Muster intro, I used Adobe After Effects for that. Joshua Graham says the laser musket is all about sniping in style. Yeah, you're probably right. But for sniping in style, I really like the lever action rifle from Far Harbor. That gun is great. The silencer is just a bunch of cloth wrapped around the barrel. That's the silencer. I love it. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I need to get to work. I have finished my video for tomorrow. My video for tomorrow is on the Creation Club content that was published today, so stay tuned for that. Lots of great stuff. I'm going to show off everything in Creation Club in that video. It's about 20-21 minutes worth of content. And then tonight, I need to get to work on the final episode. Judge Grimm says, I went to Wasteland Weekend and I had an absolute blast. We are creating a tribe for next year, the Mojave Minutemen. Hey, that's cool. We will be fighting the Legion, and I would be honored if you would join us. Well, Judge, I would love to go to Wasteland Weekend someday, but I'm so busy with my content schedule that I don't really do conventions anymore. I used to all the time. I went to BlizzCon, DragonCon, Comic-Con, E3, Emerald City Comic-Con. I did all sorts of stuff back in the day. I miss it. It was fun. Made a lot of really good friends. But yeah, I'm so busy with everything these days, I just can't do conventions. Maybe someday. Maybe someday. Was I talking about something else? Yeah, I was ending the show. What was I saying something about? Yeah, I need to work on today after the show. I'm going to be working on the video that I'm going to publish on Saturday, which is part 3 of the Bright Brotherhood. So if you want to catch up in time for Saturday's video, watch episode 1 and episode 2. They're already live on my channel. Lots of great stuff. And thanks again for coming to this week's episode of Scotch and Smoke Rings. Tune in next week, same Ox time, same Ox channel, for episode 436, ladies and gentlemen. Until then, watch my videos, have a good night, and be sure that each and every one of you stays classy.